and I'm really looking up to. I really am happy that I have this tall thing working for me. And well, what a gathering. And I really like the amazing stories that I also hear from people doing in their local community. And so let's talk about what I do in my local community. So when I walk in my community, I go shopping, get lunch, buy cheese for dinner. I get the food without taking my wallet out. So I get the food, and I don't pay for it because the merchant already have, the food business already have the money, the community already has my money. So who here in the room did get their lunch through Credibles today? Yeah, quite a few. I encourage the other ones to do it as well. You had a little bit of a glimpse of the experience, what it means to get fed without taking your wallet out. And just do yourself a favor, go to credibles.org, and there's also free $5 edible credits for a sweet treat at a local ice cream and sweet and coffee store just around the corner. You should explore the great city that we're in. So, what I would like to talk about is edible credits. That's the concept that makes that possible, what I just described, walking around. The community already has my money, I don't need to take my wallet out. And we call it edible credits. We have branded it as Credibles. Woody Tash mentioned it in his opening as one of the ways to make slow money happen on the ground. And we're introducing it at this gathering for nationwide availability. We have tried it out in a few local communities, and as of now it's feasible for all of you, and it can be done all over the US. So that's what we're introducing as of today. So what do I do in my community? So in the morning I may go, on my way to work, I get fresh pressed juice from Thau around the corner. At lunch, I will get my sandwich from La Fromagerie around the corner. And if it's a special day, I may go to Hillside Supper Club in our neighborhood for a dinner date or birthday party. And on the weekend, I may go to Farmer's Market and get the best yogurt in the US from Saint Benoit, or get kick-ass sauerkraut from Farmer's Culture. And when I get their food, again, I don't take my wallet out, they already have my money. And to some degree, the money that they have from me is already in the hundreds. And that's, I paid the money to them, now I have store credit with them. I kind of pay with my face. We're taking the relationship to the next level, if you will. And that's how it works for me. Why is it a good idea that they have all my money? The answer is good food needs time to grow and ripen, and it needs money. The food producer needs to pre-finance what gets to my table eventually. And that's why I think if I care about the local food economy, I should give it my money up front. Not all of it, but a good portion of it. And think about it, where would my money be otherwise? Would it be in savings account, in a mutual fund, in a retirement account? And believe me, I know all of those products very well because as I was introduced, I was a bank executive for a while, and even with a vantage point behind the scenes, I did not really know where the money really was. And now they're dangling like dividends in front of me, but the dividend wouldn't really get Wall Street to pay for local businesses, or all interest in the world that I would get on a savings account, and of course you ask what interest, would not really help me for a dividend that they're dangling in front of me, wouldn't really get any of the soil back that gets paved over, because the farmer now doesn't have the money to pay to buy it. So now I have to take care of it and make it happen now. And my key point that I also want to leave with you, paying it forward for food is not a matter of charity or altruism or philanthropy or anything like this. This is actually, I think, very healthy self-interest. For me, paying it forward for the food providers is part of my retirement strategy. It's part of my health plan. And it has increasingly become to me also how I'm part of the cycle of nature that I'm a part of. And so that's what that's why we're saying, by paying it forward, I'm kind of feeding the system that I want to feed me. Pretty clearly, it's healthy selfishness by feeding the system that I want to feed me. And so, of course, that will only work if the business is actually then around to feed me when I come in and want to have my food. So the business needs to sustain itself. The business needs to be around. It cannot go out of business. So to that degree, what we have seen that I and other people who buy credibles, you bet they beat the drum for the business. They become like the biggest advocates because they want the business to stay around. Can you imagine a bank underwriter doing this? Telling all their friends bringing birthday parties there to make sure that the business sticks around? And hell, bank underwriters don't even like to underwrite food businesses. I know that from my own history, because they're a little complicated, hard to understand, and they don't eat there, right? So that's why I call the model that we're doing with slow money in general and with credibles in particular, I call that community underwriting. It's actually, we are the underwriters of that business by committing to it and taking it to the next level. So you may say, oh, that's nice, Arno, you found a way to pay for your cheese and your juice and your sauerkraut and all of this. But I would suggest that with credibles we're introducing a way that makes it accessible for everybody. This is a model where everyone can participate, even if you're not one who can write big checks, but if you're a part of the many who can write small checks. And so for us, this was a photo taken at the last Slow Money National Gathering. If you eat, you're an investor. That's basically our tagline and motto for the concept of edible credits. So if we say it's accessible to everybody, how do we make it, actually that's the back pocket. How do we make it easy for everybody? So you go to credibles.org and find your business, your favorite food business, and chances are, since we're just launching, your favorite food business is not on it. So please suggest it to us, and there's a suggest function on there. And then I, as the customer, go onto the website and, again, forward. I, as the customer, go to the page of the business and then prepay right on the website. And it is, first time you do an account, and if you can do eBay, you can do credibles. It's really that easy. And since as a prepaying customer you commit to them, they also usually find ways to return the love. And so you see that sometimes when you pay larger amounts, I think it's like when you pay 300, they give you store credit, edible credits for 330, which is 10% is actually a nice rate. Don't try to get that at your bank. But again, it's very important that you also walk away. This is not a discount. What they're giving you here is not a discount that comes out of the cash register. There's so many models out there. It's more like the model of the baker's dozen. They give you something extra on top of it, and that is not cash. It's literally something that they can grow in their business or whip up in their kitchen. As such, some of you may be familiar with the model of the baker's dozen, and for the business people it works like frequent flyer miles. So you don't get the cash, but you get something from the business. Now, the customer then has a balance, of course, with the business and the business, and there's technically, by the way, a gift certificate. Now I go into the restaurant. Now what? And you guessed it, there's an app for that. And right now it's on the iPhone and on the Android. So the business staff person at farmers market or the waiter sees you and sees your remaining balances and deducts what you just purchased from the store credit that you have for the business and it gets off taken in real time, which means that both you, the business, and the customer can see in real time how you literally eat your credits down. That's why we call it edible credits. And that is pretty powerful, even that we go to the point that we're now working with some grocery chains to see if they can recognize the edible credits of the producers, the farmers, the cheese makers that are the vendors of the grocery chains, if they can recognize them at the point of sale. And Whole Foods Northern California, they're so excited about this. They're now looking at it, how they can accommodate that in their point of sale system to recognize the products that you already prepaid, so that you don't have to pay at Whole Foods for it anymore. So they're looking at how they can accommodate this, and this is a great model how this can become mainstream. And now the kicker of edible credits is probably once we arrive at a point where we have a critical mass in each community, and in Boulder we have a few restaurants already, that when there is a critical mass we will actually turn a feature on that you can take your edible credits from one business to another one. Let's say if you prepaid the bakery, your bread credits, you can take them to the chicken farmer, and vice versa. And it has to be completely on a principle of reciprocity. Both businesses have to be prepaid by customers. And then the accounting works in the background. By the way, we have tested this, and that way people get to discover more goodness in their local food system by using some of their edible credits at various businesses around in their community. And that gets us closer to the vision of walking around, getting your food without taking the wallet out. And this is kind of like in a nutshell what I want to introduce to you guys. Credibles as a new, slow way to pay for food, to invest in food, available to everyone. We couldn't hardly think of anything that could be slower. Sometimes we have like internal discussions. What's the right interest rate? Should it be 2%, 0%, 6%? So there is actually no interest rate that has to be paid back in cash. It comes completely back in food to the investor. So this is what I want to suggest to you to try it out, bring it back to your businesses, and let me know, by the way, how it works and what the feedback is and how the beta version worked for you at the restaurants, and really do yourself a favor, go online and for trying it out, get your 5% at 2 sweet food businesses here in the neighborhood. So, thank you very much. I'm glad that we could share this for you, and as Carol said earlier, if you go home, there's actually something to do. Thanks a lot.